who is joining us to talk about some of the work we're doing. Maureen, do you want to give an introduction to who you are and how you're involved?
Sure. My name is Maureen McCoy, and I'm a member of the Sierra Club Lands team, excuse me, in Wisconsin. And so Kathy has some questions. Thank you all for donating to the Sierra Club. I've been a member for many, many years. Yeah, here, Colorado, Florida, and back here. So I can't say enough wonderful things about Sierra Club.
Oh, thanks so much, Maureen. And we can't say enough wonderful things about you and the lands team. So land is a huge category. So can you share with us some of the challenges that our lands in Wisconsin are facing?
Right. If you're not already aware of it, Wisconsin has millions of acres of forest, but and some of it gets logged, and some of it is left for us all to enjoy. We get concerned about clear cutting in our state forest, mostly in the north of Wisconsin. And there are pros and cons certainly about logging. It gives us wood for various things, most importantly to build houses, but it's also not really good environmentally. Logging destroys forests. It reduces the amount of animal habitat, and it reduces the number of trees that can take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. So we have been a part of the county forest plans, which were just done for the next 15 years. And we were actively involved, as you saw in the storybook, to get a whole chapter included about not just logging, but to preserve our forests, particularly old growth forests, for wildlife, for the environment, and for public access. So we feel pretty good about being really proactive about that. The I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to, first, our Power Hour just ended, and with the help of Rhonda's donation, we were able to use up that last double match grant during the Power Hour. So again, thank you all who donated. We're still running the Big Share until midnight though, so there's still time to give. If you go to thebigshare.org and donate to the Sierra Club Wisconsin Foundation, that's how you give to us. And Maureen, thank you so much for talking through some of the challenges that we have. It sounds like clear cutting of old growth forests is one major concern. Can you share specifically why old growth forests are important?
Well, they are. Old growth forests are just like a giant bank account of carbon. They store an enormous amount of carbon in their trunks and allow even more to be stored in the forest soil. So although scientists long ago had thought that old trees could no longer absorb carbon, more recent studies suggest that they continue to capture large amounts into old age. And of course, we know that carbon in the atmosphere is one of the main causes of climate change. And there's no real accepted definition of what old growth is, but in Wisconsin, our DNR defines old growth as natural stands that have developed over a period of time. And generally, these trees are at least 120 years old without experiencing a stand replacing disturbance. In addition to being over 120 years old, an old growth stand must have many large trees, at least 21 inches in diameter, a few very large trees that are 30 inches in diameter, and large standing dead trees. They should have a diversity of tree sizes and a lot of coarse woody debris on the forest floor, all of which captures carbon. And so we don't want to be clear cutting or logging so much of it. Now, logging is an important part of Wisconsin's industry. And the DNR has truly worked hard, I think, at trying to preserve, particularly our old growth forests. But there's only 3% of the forest in Wisconsin, the old growth forests, remain. There's a wonderful book, Our Living Ancestors, written by John Bates, about old growth forests. And one of the perfect places to hike in old growth, which is like just recapturing your soul, is the Cathedral Pines, and it's in the Chequamegon-Nicolet National Forest up near Lakewood. So if you get a chance, go experience that. The other place that does a really good job about managing forests, and the DNR does work with all the private landowners in terms of having a forest management plan, but the Menominee Forest in Menominee on the reservation is often touted by experts as the largest single tract of virgin, which is old growth, native timberland in the Great Lakes region. Its natural resources provide a grove of benefits to Wisconsin, and it's seen as an example of how a forest should be managed. The Menominee tribe does logging in their forest, but they only cut out diseased or trees that are not growing well. They leave the old growth there, and they make a good income off of their logging, but the forest remains healthy and vibrant. So there's certainly a way to do that.
Yeah, that's so great. And what a good example of what we could and should be doing with our forests. Thank you for sharing that with us. Beyond protecting and conserving the land and the forests that we have, Sierra Club's lands team is also working on increasing access to public lands. Can you share some of the opportunities to address access to land?
Sure. And if you want to be a part of the lands team, we have a lot of fun doing these things, especially during this pandemic year when more people were getting out and about. And I thought we were all very creative with ideas for people to access and use all of our forests, our local parks, our state parks. So the first thing we did was geocaching back for Halloween in local parks in Dane County, Kenosha County, Milwaukee County. And kids could trick or treat and find the caches, which had Sierra Club things in them and a little bit of candy. And then recently they did a snow sculpture event in local parks. And that again got families out into the parks where maybe normally they wouldn't go out there. And we hope that these kinds of things encourage people to use the parks even more, even when we're not in the middle of a pandemic. And the one we're working on currently is the Every Kid Outdoors Pass, which is a national program, but we're trying to have it begin in our state parks in Wisconsin. As you're aware, the state park pass can be difficult for many people to buy so that they can access, or even the day pass. So this would allow every fourth grader and their family to have a free pass for a year to the Wisconsin state parks. We've already gotten the okay from the Wisconsin Conservation Congress. We worked pretty hard at that. And now we're working with the DNR, which would in the end have the final say so. And I just want to tell you, if you're interested in this program, I really would like it to be for fourth and fifth graders this next year, because the fourth graders this year missed out because of the pandemic. We initiate that through the schools. But there will be, they just had a recent board meeting, the DNR, about it, and they're aware that the Conservation Congress approved this. So now they will put this out for public input, and that's just for 72 hours, and that will begin on April 12th. So all you have to do is log into the Wisconsin DNR, and it'll get to, you know, there'll be a place where you can get to every kid outdoors pass for Wisconsin state parks. They will give those results to the public, and if it's supported, then the DNR will respond to the Wisconsin Conservation Congress, and hopefully we can make that work for this next school year. That would be from August 31st, 2021 to September 1st, well, the other way around, September 1st to August 31st, 2022. So we're really proud of that, and we're hoping that will encourage people to continue to use state parks and local parks. So thank you very much for participating in all of this and for your donations. Thanks, Cassie.